Hi everybody, it's Mayra. Recently, somebody I knew was complaining a little bit about a very short haircut that she had just recently gotten, and she was complaining, I miss my hair. And I was thinking that this would be a great way to do it. This would be a great time to do a tutorial about that. I remember I myself had a similar experience. Many years ago, I accidentally cut my hair very short, and the style was really not flattering. And what got me through it was I would wear headbands. This was before I was married, so my hair was showing. And I realized this would be a great tutorial for a lot of different women. Now, maybe you're like this woman I know who doesn't like her hairstyle and wants to camouflage it in some way. Or maybe you're one of the many women who cover their hair partially, not completely, but who want to wear something nice. Maybe you just, normally put something on top of your head, but you let your hair show and you just want something nice. Or maybe you do cover your hair completely, like I do, but you like the idea of wearing a very basic, simple wrap and then just jazzing it up just a little bit. Well, this is the tutorial for all of you. So, for this, I am wearing my black 2-in-1, and underneath it, I am wearing my velvet no-slip band, my classic shaper. Now, a shaper for any of these styles is not strictly necessary. Especially if you're going to be showing hair, you don't strictly need a shaper for this. But a velvet band is a very important thing to have because it can help prevent slipping. So these are basically just some sash wraps that I like to do. The first one that I'm going to demonstrate is one of my favorites. Now, you can do these with any oblong scarf. If the scarf happens to be wide, you can either wear it wide and cover a little more, or you can just wear it folded so that it still comes off like a sash. For this one, this is one that I like to wear a lot. This is based on a hacking knot. Now what I do is I take the oblong scarf and I sort of fold it in half, but I keep the loop at the top open. And then I take it around the back with the loop on one side and the loose ends on the other. I bring them together and I pull the loose ends through the loop. And then I bring the loose ends back over and I tuck them in. I particularly like this one. It's very easy to do, and it just gives me a great look with a little extra color, a little extra something. And this particular scarf also gives a lot of color and texture, so I really like that. And then there's of course the most basic. There's the most basic sash wrap, which is basically you just take a scarf and you just drape it over your head like this and you tie it. You do have to tie this one once, otherwise it won't hold. And you can either wear it with the tails hanging forward, or you can tie the knot a little off to the side and drape the tails off to one side, or you can wear it with the tails hanging in the back. Easy enough to do. I specifically chose a sari scarf to demonstrate this look because, again, it adds a lot of color and texture. But you can do this with pretty much any scarf. And this particular sash wrap gives a look and feel as if you have some hair, which is particularly good if you are one of those women who is wearing really short hair, whether you particularly like it or not, and you just want the feeling of hair. And I happen to feel, though, that if you're going to leave any tails hanging, it looks a little more sophisticated if you just leave them hanging on one side and not on both. but it's a personal preference. Then, there are also some very basic sash wraps that are basically versions of regular wraps that many of us in the head wrapping community do to hide all of our hair, but they still look really good when done in sash form. For example, I particularly love the look of a turban wrap with a tail when done in sash form. I do this a lot. And what you do is you drape the oblong at an angle, but with one end noticeably shorter than the other, and you crisscross it, and you check and see if the short end is the right length that you want for the tail. So don't tie it just yet. If it's long and if it's long or short, if it's too long or too short, just adjust it. Once you have it adjusted to just the right length you want, you tie it. And then you take the long end and you drape it over, crisscross it just like you would with a turban wrap, and then tuck that loose end into the seam, and you have a turban wrap with tail, but in sash form. So you can do this you can definitely do this with loose hair, or you can do it like I did with a full head covering as a base. And then there is one of my favorite special event wraps, the Marrakesh turban. Yes, this can be done in sash form. What you do is you drape the scarf from back to front, just like most turbans, and you crisscross it with the short end underneath, and then you wrap the long end over the front, tie this once, but just loop it. Don't pull it all the way through. And then take the short end and tuck it. And you get the look of a Marrakesh turban, but you've still got something showing. It's a sash wrap. Now, there are a lot of different ways to do this there are a lot of different sash wraps that can look really amazing, and the key is to always play around and experiment and figure out what works for you. But one tip, if you are planning to show your hair, then if it's long enough for a ponytail, at least, always pull it back into a ponytail or bun before you start the wrap. Then, when you've completed the wrap, let your hair down, if you choose to do that. The reason you want to pull it back or up is just to keep it out of the way, because I have noticed sometimes if you're wearing your hair long and loose, it might get tangled up in the knots if it's not out of the way. So, and you don't want that to happen. It's bad for the hair. So even if you don't plan on leaving it in a ponytail or a bun, do that just to get it out of the way, and then just let your hair down. Remember always, play around, experiment, and see what you can do. Get creative, have fun. Bye-bye.